Okay, yeah. Okay, so ready? I start, right, okay. Okay, so I'm going to talk about a tool that I have written as a hobby project. And it's a tool that I needed to improve the user experience of my terminal. And so this is a native application done with React and some Rust and some shell scripting. It's available in GitHub, and it's ready to install as a binary also for macOS, Linux, and WSL. Okay. Okay, so why this tool? It's because I use the terminal a lot, depending on the task I'm doing, especially if I'm using Docker or some cloud CLIs. There are very long commands with a lot of parameters, etc. And some tasks are very not easy or very slow, not very user-friendly in the terminal. So I wanted to implement some extension, and this is a pop-up that when you type some keyboard combination, it will open the pop-up, let the user, maybe go through the command history or directory history or navigate through the file system in a nice graphical way. And then when you hit enter, it will put that selection into the terminal. And that will save a lot of memorization and keystrokes and whatever, right? Okay, so that's the tool. It's called Shelp. It's not a very original name, Shell Helper. Okay. And let's see. I used a framework called Tauri, and some people know it, and if you don't know it, hey, Adria. And if not, you must have heard about Electron, so this is something similar, right? And so let's have an overview of native apps in web technologies, in JavaScript, HTML, whatever, right? We have JavaScript with a great UI, great interactivity in the browser. Everybody knows this, but we cannot access the system resources. We cannot do native things, right? On the other hand, we have Node.js or Dino, Ban, whatever. Great access to operating system resources, but very limited UI text console, right? But sometimes we need native access. We need to do things like have full access to the file system to do development, or system tools that, they show some nice thing here, like ChatGPT or whatever, or desktop automation that captures global keystrokes and moves the windows, or in this case, integration with local applications. Like in this case, I want to collaborate with the terminal application. I want to launch my pop-up from the terminal, etc., etc. So that's why sometimes native applications are necessary. And the typical approach is what most people know, which is Electron. And if I assume most of you use VS Code, so you used Electron. And Electron kind of does brute force solution, which is, okay, we have great UI from the browser. We have system access from Node.js. So let's put everything together, right? Let's put both of them together. We have two JavaScript runtimes. And then let's bundle it. And that takes about 600 megabytes. Your application code is that little thing there. And if you are Microsoft or you are providing, very lot of functionality, great thing, people don't mind downloading. It's compressed, but it's like between 100 and 200 megabytes, and then you expand and it takes 600 megabytes. You go to the folder of VS Code, you look at it, and it's 600 megabytes, right? So if you're doing a little tool like me, it's too much. So we have Tauri, which is the alternative. Well, there are many alternatives, but Tauri is quite a good one. And let me move the mouse away. Right, so what it does is two things. First, it gets rid of bundling the browser. It just uses the browser that comes with your operating system. That's easy. And then instead of putting a full JavaScript runtime to access the operating system resources, well, you have to use a compiled language. And then that's the hard part of it. It's easier to use, Node.js because it's JavaScript in both places, but, well, whatever. Right, then the application bundle is about 10 megabytes because most of it is Tauri framework plus your compile code and your JavaScript, CSS, HTML, whatever. Right, the operating system browser is in your operating system, and it just uses something standard API that is the WebView API that embeds the browser in the application. And this is 10 megabytes, and then, well, if you want to really reduce it, you can do a lot of fine-tuning. I have not even investigated, but apparently it can take less than 1 megabyte, but whatever. 10 megabytes is okay, compared with 600, right? Okay, so what about this Rust programming language? It's a compiled language like C or C++, and if you have programming those languages, and in general, if you know several programming languages, you learn a similar one in about 1 week, and then you are productive. You can just look at tutorials and copy code. But Rust is not exactly like that. It's very, very strict about memory safety. It's the main objective of Rust is memory safety. So, well, you define a variable, you assign a string, you pass the string to a function, you can no longer use the variable because now the function has taken ownership of the string. Okay, then you can clone it or you can pass a reference, and there are like dozens of combinations of those. And then you can do two things. You can say, okay, I need to really slowly learn Rust, maybe read a book and practice and or you can just use ChatGPT, copy-paste the error. And the other approach is, just write as few Rust code as possible, right? Then you use Rust to access the data you need from the operating system and immediately invoke JavaScript and let JavaScript do the formatting and parsing and sorting and whatever. So this is what I did. And, well, the good thing is that Tauri has a mechanism for communicating both JavaScript and Rust. If you want to call JavaScript from Rust, you have events. And if you want to call Rust from JavaScript, you have commands, which are two APIs from Tauri. You can pass data back and forth, and it converts the objects. And that's great, right? Then, okay. So let's look closer at what this tool is doing, right? So the thing is, okay, what I want to do is particularly three things, but this is extensible, right? It's open source. If you want to do something else with the terminal and this pop-up, you just can extend it or whatever. But what I have is these are the three main features. There are a few more, but these are the interesting ones. Like in a terminal, when you go through command history, Control-R is a single line. If you have warp 4 lines, it's still not much for me. I don't know. And you cannot do fuzzy search. You cannot search by multiple words. And it's ugly, whatever. I wanted more. And then same thing with directory history. There are things like fuzzy find, but the user experience is not great. I wanted to have something that stores the directory I have visited in a chronological way, and I can move around because frequently I'm moving across different projects. I have maybe my application and a dependency, and I jump from one to the other, whatever, right? And this is very convenient. Also, if I want to do tab completion, I have tried warp, I have tried all my zish, all my ZSH, whatever, zish. And I've tried those. They are okay, but I wanted to have something more powerful. So like, for example, if you do tab completion, you can see the files, but you cannot go into the directories or to the parent directory or whatever. So that's the purpose, and what this tool is doing is that, well, it requires ZSH, sorry, because it's a very powerful shell, and it comes by default with Mac now, so you don't have to do anything. It's there, and if you use Linux, well, it's easy to install, right? So the thing is, during startup, it will bind some keys that will execute some ZSH script, and that script will call the Tauri popup application, Shelp, and that will let the user navigate through history or whatever, and select something, and that selection, well, after that, the popup closes, goes back to the terminal, and the ZSH script will put that into the command line. That's the idea. I'll show a demo, of course, of this. So in more detail, I mean, it's a little tricky. There's looks like hacking, but I was considering other alternatives, and this has some advantages, right? At startup, I open Shelp as an application and show a welcome pop-up and close it. Then it will register a HTTP server. When I open a terminal, ZSH will bind key shortcuts. What I was saying, right? Some key combinations will run some code. So when the user types a shortcut, then some script runs, and that script will run curl, and then curl will send some request to the HTTP server in Shelp, and it will open the pop-up. There will be a different URL for each functionality. Let the user do whatever, and when they hit enter, it will close the pop-up and send in the HTTP response, will send the data to be displayed in the command line. That's the general approach, right? Okay, so as I was saying, and I'm going to do the demo now, I'm going to show, normally I work with an external monitor and an external keyboard, so I have set up page up for command history, like it's similar to up. You go one line, page up shows a pop-up with all your commands. Page down for directory history makes sense. And you will see that there are nice combinations to switch between directories. And shift right, whatever, to do like tab completion, but more powerful. These are the main features. Okay, so I'm going to show, and I need both hands, so I don't know what I'm going to do. Can you help me? Yeah, thank you. Okay, sorry. It will be fast. Okay, so yeah, I'm here in the terminal. So I want to use command history. I do page down. No, sorry, that's not page up for command history. And you can see, you can use the mouse, you can use the keyboard. I use the keyboard mostly. And so you have your commands here. You can go, whatever with page up or page down or scroll, whatever, but no, sorry, here. But you can also filter like anything that has to do with Git and maybe fix. And it will show Git containing Git and fix. You see it highlights whatever it finds, right? And then, I want to do this, boom. And it's going to put it there. What's there? Okay, yeah, sorry, I did the scroll and then, but there it is. Sorry, you didn't see it. I was scrolling and that's why. Not this one, this one. So whatever, like export. This is huge, so it's hard to find. You just type export, and there it is, right? So that's one thing. Thank you. The other one is directory history. I was saying before, and it's page down, and you have the most recent directories at the bottom. You just go up. You can say, oh, I was working with something called whatever. Example, no, I don't have any example. React, there you have React, whatever you filter. Again, you can search by multiple terms, right? And the thing is, I'm here in Excali PPT and I switch to Shelp. Now it will reorder and the next one should be Excali PPT. It is here. So now I can do page down, enter, page down, enter to switch from one to the other, right? You have seen, I didn't mention, you have syntax highlighting in the commands, right? And this is configurable. I will explain about this in a minute. And then you say, I want to copy a file from the parent directory. So I do cp and then shift right, and then I navigate and I see, don't see just the name of the files. I can see the date and the size and whatever. You go to the parent directory, you go to here. No, that was the other one. I want to go to Shelp, it's here, boom. I want to go to docs, and there it is, right? Okay, and it puts it there for you. Okay, thank you. So that's the main functionality. The thing is, it's configurable. You have, let me show you in VS Code. You can configure your shortcuts. Here is page down for this whatever. I mean, you can set up your keyboard combinations here, right? Let me show you a little bit of code. This is funny, like history popup. For example, it calls the history command and pipes it into curl, and curl calls Shelp host history, blah, 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 right? And the result goes into history command output. And then if the output is not empty, because you can press escape, it will replace the command line with this thing, lbuffer and write buffer, whatever. Okay. Then also, when you install for the first time, when you run for the first time Shelp, it will create a .shelp directory with this file. I mean, you just run it in startup. And it will also create a CSS file. And here you can configure your colors, your favorite colors, dark mode, light mode, whatever. I mean, it supports also light mode and dark mode here. You see, I don't have it here. Oh, well, there is a command for light and dark mode. But if you don't say anything, it will, I don't know if it's automatic, whatever. But yeah, that's configurable. That's what I wanted to say. Okay, so back to the presentation. Yeah, I mean, I was saying light, dark, and default color palettes. You can set up your CSS. You can, make it look, use the font and the colors on whatever that you want. You can set up the shortcuts and the window size and position and whatever. Okay, I think I am done. Yes. So thank you. You can check the utility there. You can download it, or you can check the code, or whatever. And if you have any questions. Questions? Yeah.
I guess it's question time now, right?
Sorry?
Okay.
Okay, two mics, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, you didn't have to press. It worked for me. Okay.
Yes.
Is the Wi-Fi thing?
That's why I just say it loud, right? I have two questions.
Okay.
No? Okay. No.
Don't worry, you're loud enough.
You are a vampire or something.
So I would be interested how much time you spend on
Yeah.
this. Honestly, not
I mean, okay, so this was like a few weeks in October in my spare time. I had a project that was very, very intense, and we work even on weekends and so. And then we finished the project, and then I said, now I have time to do my stuff. And then, but I was working, so it was like a couple of hours per day, maybe a few weeks. If you look at the code, it's not great. I mean, it's like React, for example. I don't do state management. I just do, use a state and whatever. But I mean, I could do much cleaner things, but I mean, the code is clean, is well structured, but I don't use the great features of React. It works, okay, next, right? So, but yeah, like let's say 1 month of 2 hours per day. Well, weekends a little more, yeah.
The second question, so where does it go from here? So
Yeah.
can you continue it? Or I guess the reason that you presented was also to get people to
Yes.
collaborate, right?
Yeah, thank you. So great question, because that's one of the reasons why I wanted to present. I mean, there's the URL. You can send issues or even better PRs, or just, I mean, there's my Blue Sky handle in there, in that URL. We can chat and say, why not that? And feedback, whatever. Open for suggestions, PRs, whatever. Yeah. So yeah, that was one of the objectives. Yeah. Okay. More questions? No?
Okay, so it's really hard for me to speak loudly, but I'll try. You mentioned that you had some trade-offs and then you decided to go with the. I was just wondering.
Okay. Yeah. Also good question, because it gives me the opportunity to kind of mention things that I forgot to mention. So like other options, maybe is like name pipes or inter-process communication, but it's fast, and it also lets you use the pop-up in remote servers, in remote sessions, because you configure the URL, and you either configure an accessible URL, like is in your local network, or you can use some tunnel, some Cloudflare tunnel or whatever, and the pop-up will not open so quickly, but once it opens, it's fast, and then so that's an advantage of using HTTP for communication, and it's easy also. Going back to his question, I wanted this to work for me, and then later, if it works for other people, then it's great.
I have a question.
Oh, okay.
How's your experience with Tauri? Like, you faced any real challenges, or has it all been more or less okay?
No, actually, yeah, I forget explaining a lot of things, and the questions remind me of those. So there's an advantage with Tauri compared to Electron also, which is Tauri comes with, in the package JSON, it comes with build the scripts that generate the binaries, installable binaries. Very nice. Like you say build, and it generates macOS installable, like the thing that DMG, right? It just is there in GitHub. You can download it and install it. Same thing for Linux. It generates a Linux package thing. And so I tested, I use it in macOS. I tested it to see that it works in some Linux VM and in Windows WSL. And the great thing is I tried the binary, and it works fine. So very convenient to use Tauri compared to Electron, that it doesn't come with installation, generate the installation binary for you.
How do you protect the server from accessing from the local network? Because sometimes in Wi-Fi, local process,
Yeah.
connect to your server and get all your history, toolkits,
Yeah.
data, etc.
So if a hacker wants to do something, the maximum thing it can do is open the pop-up. You are working and boom, the pop-up opens. No, because that's the one that calls the application is the one that sends the data. Yeah, it could be some phishing attack that shows the pop-up and says, select this. I don't know. It's HTTP. It's not HTTPS also, because there's no certificate or whatever. But it's pretty harmless, because the worst thing it can do is open a pop-up. So like it can be annoying, okay. Okay. Okay.